Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again. And this is a Sunday morning, and I put these broadcasts together. I call it my Sunday broadcast to the public. I want to speak a moment, if I may, on devil worshipers. You know, there was a time I grew up with a long time ago, and I was raised by my great grandparents, not my grandparents, but their parents. A situation where it was so long ago, these relatives were almost connected to slavery. They were born in the 1800s, and by the time they got me, they were old people like I am now. And I was just a kid, baby. And I missed, you know how young people raise their kids? Well, these were old people. Old people had been living. They had seen the ups and downs of life. They had engaged themselves. They had indulged and involved. And they were moving up, you know, because some of their kids went to college and became prominent individuals in the community and in the country. And, but, you know, still we were black people living in the South, living in Mississippi, and exposed to all of the elements of a social order there in Mississippi. And but I was saying this to say that perhaps my thinking was a little bit out of line with people who were my age. Because if you were raised by young people, you can bet your last money if you were raised by an old person, you were raised different. And I'm bringing that up because as I got into listening to others' philosophy about life and things that they were involved in, I ran across a gentleman by the name of, and it was through reading, Elijah Muhammad. And I noticed that they call a certain group of people devils. And based upon my training, you just don't call people devils. And how could you judge people to say that they were devils? And so, as I would pursue my profession, I would always look at people as people who did not understand, people who had not grown. I wanted to, in one essence, be politically correct as well. And even when you hear Farrakhan and others throughout African American heritage speak of devils, it's just hard for me. Then I thought one day about Christianity and Jesus Christ. You know, he supposedly is so reverenced in Christianity. And I thought about how occasionally he referred to, as speaking to the leaders of the church, the elders as it were, as devils. Their fathers being the devil. If your father's the devil, that means you're a devil as well. So I'm thinking now, I'm getting a little different perspective on this. The Christianity as well as Islam calling others devils. You don't hear too many Christians, because Christians, you know, that like to stay away from that word too. They train us not to use that word in that relationship. Muslims do. And so anyway, I'm still thinking about this devil and what the devil represents. And I kind of felt a little bit better about using the word devil, since I see the Bible says that Jesus Christ used. And so, accepting that like that, I would like to use the subject matter, devil worshippers. Devil worshippers. Now, why would I want to use that subject? I want to use that subject because it is apparent that the mass of society in this country and the mass of societies around the world are devil worshippers. It goes beyond gender. It goes beyond ethnicity. It goes beyond geography. worshipers of the devilish way. How can that be said in a nation where everybody goes to church sometime? Everybody have received the word at some time. And probably so in every other country, some type of outside force being stamped into the minds and hopefully the hearts of people, at least if that's the chosen steps to be made. And I still say, devil worshippers, the all of humanity are devil worshippers. There are people that are kind, there are people that are good, and until the limitations brought about by ignorance, beyond that, people walk accordingly, and they're still called devil worshippers. And why would I say a statement like that? If I can qualify it, let me do it now. Amongst all of the earth, whether above it seen and unseen, whether on it seen and unseen, whether in it seen and unseen, all exists because of a power outside of you, outside. It's an outside thing. The ability, all of the abilities that the earth has as far as producing, being the parent of the resources needed to meet the needs of whomever needs it, is a power outside. Not you. Not outside. You and I exist. Not on our own accords. We come by the dictates of another, and we leave by the dictates of another, an outside power. Not you, and not, but an outside power. Some of the power is good. Some of the power is not good. You say, what determines the difference? The difference is that which gives life. Life itself is good. And to some, death, to bring down, to destroy, is a mission. Never good. But it is referred to in my speech to you right now as devilness. Those that champions that road that pushes it down to that limit, called devil worshippers. Now, who would be a devil worshipper? Every human being on the face of the earth have common necessities for survival. There is not a one on the earth that would choose as a way of life abstinence from food. For food is indeed essential for survival. And everybody wants to survive and they want food. Now, one amongst you would reject it unless you're on a mission to just hurry home. That being the case, then who should be denied it? Who should be denied food? But anyone, to the extent that anyone is denied food, that means that everybody else is a devil worshiper. Why? Because they allow that to exist, knowing that it is essential for survival. And it is possible for it to happen, for it to be met, for the need to be met, for everybody to eat. Yet, there are those who do not eat. And only because of the power of the devil worshippers. You. Clothing. Shelter. Every human being on the face of the earth requires food, clothing, and shelter. There are many that are without it. When the needs exist, the means exist, and yet there are those those who are talking about the fantastic power in them, committed to a way of life beyond anything that human brains can think of, and these people still without necessities for survival. And so that says that everybody who is not committed to change that situation, that these people can have as much food and clothing, shelter that they need, they are devil worshippers to the extent that this exists. There are those who require education to be better at whatever their dreams and aspirations might be. There are those who would require health care from the womb to the tomb. And who are those ones? Everybody. Every human being on the face of the earth requires education to be better and desired. Not perhaps as others would desire it for them, but as they would desire it for themselves. Nobody wants to get sick, but if they do, they want to get well. Not a single soul on the face of the earth would want it otherwise. So who amongst you alter that? Who amongst you? But as long as there are those who are denied adequate education of their choosing, who are denied it for whatever the reasons, health care from the womb to the tomb, when it has been made available, why? By the powers outside. And it is denied by the powers inside. By you, devil worshippers, to the extent that this exists. You might, in your limited understanding of life, might wonder, how can this be met? Especially since you've been trained to believe that this way of life is the best way of life anyone can have. The same as the Russians believe, the same as the Chinese believe, the same as every nation that's separate from this nation believes. This is why they're separate, because they believe different. This is why you got so many different churches and denominations, because they believe different. And all of them together have created a hell where everybody is a devil worshiper. Now I can tell you this because I know you are. I know you are because for years there have been those amongst you who have talked about peace, who have talked about prosperity and joy in life, who have talked about all of these essentials for survival being met, not only saying that they can't happen, that they're needed, but having information about how it could happen, and basically maybe the only way it could happen. And that would happen because you the people who have just identified individually with what I've just explained to you, you the people will decide, you the people will determine that you will protect your right for all of the things mentioned here by protecting it for everyone. That will be the result. And as you try to meet these needs, you will find that the doors have been opened for whatever dream and aspiration you've had. This is truly where your joy lies. Now those doors are open, you can run in and begin to do your thing. And everything that you do is essentially tied up in the process of creating all of the goods, all of the services beyond the survivals that we the people have determined we need. By God, by George, that is the sweetest thing that can happen. And that gives me the authority to set up and say, if you're not looking at that, I know you weren't looking. That's why I called you a devil worshiper, because you didn't even know it existed. But now that you do, what are you going to do about it? Who's that? Now that you do know, what are you going to do about it? until you do something about it, you are a devil worshiper. I don't care what position you hold in this hierarchy of life. You can be president, prime minister, pope, care who you are. As long as this exists, you are a devil worshiper. Well, now I got my relatives. They're back here from the church, so I think it's about time I close down. I don't want to be longer than they are, so I want to thank you so very much for giving me this your time. And once again, this is Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people, saying devil worshippers. Bye-bye.